Now, Tony Sags, president of Talk Radio News Service, and Kirsten Powers, Daily Beast columnist. Both are Fox News contributors. How you doing, you two? And good morning.
Good morning.
Great to see you.
How are you?
I don't know if the president even on Friday was predicting that job cuts were going to come immediately on Capitol Hill, and that did not appear to be the case just yet, Tony.
That's absolutely true.
I mean, was Sperling talking with the same tongue that the president was, or not?
Well, Bill, even the New York Times last week warned the president not to be the president who cried wolf. He had obviously taken to the stage to create the impression that these cuts were going to be so dire and drastic that, you know, it was almost a doomsday scenario. His cabinet secretaries were coming out. Arne Duncan, Secretary of Education, made an erroneous claim that teachers were already being furloughed in a West Virginia county. The president, the day of his meeting with congressional leaders, said janitors on Capitol Hill were going to be having their hours cut. That was later proven to be false.
Came out and said that, yeah, that's not going to be the case. Just your comment about crying wolf, Kirsten. You're starting to see these articles written about a credibility issue for the president. If it doesn't happen, what is your view of that and how that affects him?
Well, I don't really understand why they are making up stories about people losing their jobs like the janitors when, in fact, people are going to lose their jobs. The reality is it's not necessarily going to be an apocalypse, but it's going to be bad. And if CBO says it could be 750,000 people losing their jobs in a very fragile economy. That's not a minor thing. And so by exaggerating it, it actually detracts from the message, which is that this is actually serious.
That whole point about layoffs, and you wonder why it has to be that way. Because we're spending all this money, $3.5 trillion this year. I mean, somewhere you can go in there and save expenses. D. Roy Murdoch wrote this over the weekend. I just want to share this with our audience. Imagine that your boss nicked your pay 2.4%. Would you dodge next month's rent, skip your insulin purchases, and unplug your refrigerator to lower your power bill? Most likely, you'd cancel your Showtime subscription, repair, not replace your old shoes, and ski Utah in 2014, maybe. He continues, President Obama would pick premium cable instead of insulin, and Park City overpaying the landlord. Tony, that goes to priorities and smart decisions about money that you may not have this year.
You're right. And the most inexplicable thing to me is that, okay, we got to the sequester. Blame is to be shared, of course, as we always say in Washington. There's structural problems with the way things are getting done. But the Republicans just a week ago decided to give the president the authority to then avoid these drastic bad cuts and select what he would replace these cuts with in the sequester. Remember, the president wanted this exact power to avoid a debt ceiling showdown back in September. And when the Republicans gave him the chance to say, okay, let's not cut money to disabled kids, military families, poor children, first responders.
It's always the kids, the teachers, the police, and
no
the firefighters. He said he did not want that. Kirsten, why would he not want that?
I don't know. I mean, the only real explanation is because he wants the sequester, to take effect in the way that it's been structured, which will be the most damaging. Both parties supported the sequester. The Republicans voted for it. I guess now they're trying to fix the problem, and the president should agree to this. I mean, they should give the flexibility to the departments to make the cuts where they need to be made. I just think that
he's not going with it so far. There's one more point.
I suspect he's going to come around on it because there's no defense for it, really, that I can think of.
One more point to make on this. For 5 years, Americans outside of government, I mean, they've been rearranging their lives to make ends meet. And the first of the year, you had Social Security tax go up 2%.
That's right.
For the first time, the federal government's starting to feel what the rest of America's gone through. I have 20 seconds left for both of you. Tony, take that.
Bill, this is the exact point Gene Sperling unknowingly made. Republicans are compromising. We don't want defense cuts. It's always been sacrosanct for Republicans not to cut the Pentagon. But we understand that in order to get our debt and deficit under control, we have to give in on something, and we gave in on these defense cuts for the president. It's a good sign of compromise, and he should take that good faith and compromise himself.
Kirsten, last word.
I don't think that the Republicans are acting in good faith at all. I think this argument about moving the goalposts is completely juvenile. Look, there's no reason that they can't give a little bit on closing some loopholes, something they say that they have supported in the past, and make a real deal with the president.
All right. Well, you're in Washington. You're about to see how that city changes or not. So you'll be our eyes and ears on the ground, okay, Powers?
We're on it.
Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, Tony. See you soon.